Good morning. Happy Tuesday. I need a sip of coffee. So first of all, go Packers. 4-0. Secondly, if you have not seen the Netflix documentary, The Social Dilemma, you need to see that right away. I said Forks Over Knives yesterday. You should definitely watch Forks Over Knives. The Social Dilemma really shows us, and I think we've all kind of had an idea of what goes on with these social networking platforms, but I don't think we've really seen how these things have kind of taken over and what's going on with them. Which, by the way, so watch The Social Dilemma. What I took out of that was, number one, what's happening, but number two, that we can fix it. We've dealt with things like this before. So go ahead and watch it, and then we'll talk about that. So today, I was flipping through YouTube, and an original recording of Napoleon Hill came up. Must have been done in the 40s. And it's called Napoleon Hill's Masterclass. Now, he stayed doing seminars well into his 90s. And he and Tony Robbins actually shared a stage at one time. And at a very young age. But there's a recording of him talking about writing the book Think and Grow Rich and all of the research that he did. Remember, he spent like 30 years at Andrew Carnegie's Institute studying all of these concepts. And it was incredibly interesting to listen to him because, first of all, if you read Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill has a lot of metaphysical ideas. I mean, as Jim Rohn said, if you listen to Napoleon Hill, there's a lot of weird shit. And you didn't hear Jim Rohn swear very often. But he said, you know what? If you don't like the weird stuff, then forget about it. But if you're into the weird stuff, then do the weird stuff. And it certainly all worked for Napoleon Hill. And when you listen to him, we get so moved into the next levels of things. And he was really the start. And he talks, this class lasts 10 hours, so I've not listened to the whole thing yet. But the first hour is all about definiteness of purpose. And for him, he taught, which is starting with the end in mind, finding your true purpose. And he talks about that once you decide to find that everything else really starts to fall into place because we just drift along, not thinking about what is it that we really want and why are we here. When we do Date with Destiny in the Tony Robbins world, we start out with your mission statement, and we have you go through a process in order to find your mission statement. What do you love? What do you hate? And what do you want your life to be about? At the end of the day, when you're done, and this experience that you're having on earth has ended, what is it that you want your life to have been about? And then you write your mission statement. And we work on it a lot. We don't just throw something down. We make sure that it's positive. We make sure that it makes sense. We make sure that it's forward thinking. Then you do your primary question. And your primary question is, okay, in order to accomplish this mission, what should I ask myself every day? Then you do your roles. Then it's like, okay, what roles need to be in what order? If you were looking at the person that would live this life, what roles would they have in what order? And you have to go off and you do a whole board that creates this. And then you do your goals. And then because once you've got all that, then it's like, okay, now you can see the steps. But we start with the end in mind, right? We do what Covey talked about in the 7 Habits. Start with the end of your life. What do you want your life to be about? What do you want the ultimate meaning of your life to be? Then you can talk about accomplishments to get to that meaning. So when you look at those roles, they've got to all fit. And then we integrate all of those roles. And if you listen to Napoleon Hill, what he came to learn was the people that have a life that we talk about, that we look at and say, wow, what an extraordinary life. Whether you're talking about Edison or whether you're talking about Michael Jordan or whether you're talking about Mother Teresa, it doesn't matter. The process is the same. Those people started out with a definiteness of purpose. They had a vision of what they wanted their life to be, and they pursued that vision with an unending amount of energy and drive and courage and hope and love and all of those things all combined into one. And some of them did it with tenacity, and some of them did it with grace, and some of them did it with style, and some of them did it with as a bulldozer, depending upon what their personalities were, but they all did it in the same way. They all said, this is what they figured out what they wanted their life to be about. So the difference between them and people that we don't talk about is that they made a decision. They decided, this is what I'm going to do. And people that we talk about isn't necessarily somebody that's talked about on the national level. I mean, there's people in this area of my hometown that had dramatic impacts on their family and on this town, and that was their mission, was to do that. Their mission wasn't to be known on a national stage or on a world stage or have an impact like that. And so it doesn't, your impact doesn't have to be that I'm gonna be Mother Teresa. Your impact can be, I'm gonna be, the greatest parent ever. And I'm going to be a parent that my kids talk about and my grandkids talk about and my great-grandkids talk about. That's my mission, is to inspire the way for these people. It doesn't have to be some worldly mission. You can still be just as inspired and have just as great an impact just on a fewer number, and that can be what you decide to do. But either way, when I listen to him talk about this, his message really was, look, once you find this, once you make a decision to find your mission, the rest falls into place, and don't worry about it. He, when he wrote the book Think and Grow Rich, he set out with an idea that this was going to be one of the most successful books of all time. And it has been. It still sells like crazy. And when it came time to write the title to the book, he said he did about 500 titles, and they could not come up with a title that they felt was okay. Because he was like, look, this book is going to sell 1 million copies within the first year. It's going to do this. It's going to do that. It's got to be $1 million title. So finally, his editor said, look, the deadline's coming. This is it. You've got to finish it up. And so he went to bed, and he told his unconscious mind or his other than conscious mind or his subconscious mind, this is it. I need this title by tomorrow morning. I'm demanding that I get this title. And he said he woke up at 2 o'clock in the morning and wrote down Think and Grow Rich, and immediately called his editor. And then he says, why did I wait so long? He goes, well, sometimes you've got to go through all of that process in order to get to the point where you ultimately say, this is it. This is how I'm going to live my life now and move forward. But the point to all of that is once you make that decision, number one, trust in the fact that your other than conscious mind and the world and the universe or God or Buddha or whoever you believe in will provide for you in that fashion. And two, don't look back. Once you leave that prior life and move into the next thing, then don't worry about what happened in the past. Focus on where it is that you want to go and trust that it's all going to show up. And what all of these extremely successful people tell you is the same thing, that it will. Once you burn those boats like Cortez did when he came to the New World, you'll be incredibly motivated, and what you want will show up in front of you. Just have faith that that's the way it's going to happen. So if you're confused about where to begin with the end. Start with the end in mind and figure out what your purpose is, what ultimately you want your life to be. And when you find that purpose, of course, that encompasses a why. And once you do that, the rest is all going to fall into place, and have faith that that's the way that it'll work out. Thanks for watching, everybody. Good morning, Teresa, Miranda, Jeanette, Mary. We have a lot of people on this morning. Dolores, as always, my cousin Chrissy. Grace to see you. Sorry about the loss of our uncle. And have a great day, everybody. Thanks for watching. We're all in this together. Let's take care of each other.